I didn't expect anything unusual that morning, just a routine visit to the bank. My son offered to come with me. His wife insisted on joining too. We sat across from the bank manager, and I could already feel it, that quiet assumption that comes when people think you don't understand your own life anymore. I asked a simple question about my account. Before the manager could even respond, my daughter-in-law laughed softly. "She doesn't really have access to her accounts," she said, smiling. "We handle everything for her." Her tone wasn't cruel. It was confident, certain, like she was stating a fact everyone already knew. I didn't interrupt. I didn't defend myself. I just sat there, my hands folded, watching the bank manager's expression change. He stopped typing. He looked at the screen again. Then he looked at me, and that's when I knew something was about to shift. The bank manager cleared his throat. "I'm sorry," he said slowly, "but that's not correct." My daughter-in-law's smile froze. He turned the screen slightly toward us, not enough to show details, just enough to make his point. "This account," he continued, "is fully under her name." He looked directly at me now, respectfully, carefully. "She has complete access, always has." The room went quiet. My son shifted in his chair. I could see confusion in his eyes, not anger, just surprise. "But we were told," my daughter-in-law started. The manager raised a hand, still calm. "There are no restrictions here," he said. "No freezes, no permissions required from anyone else." He clicked a few keys. "In fact," he added, "all recent decisions were authorized by her personally." I felt something loosen inside my chest. Not pride, not revenge, just relief. I hadn't come to prove anything. I had come to understand. My son finally looked at me. "Mom," he asked gently, "is this true?" I met his eyes. "Yes," I said. "I never lost control. I just stayed quiet." No one spoke for a moment. Sometimes silence is not weakness. Sometimes it is patience. And sometimes the truth doesn't need shouting. It just needs the right moment to be spoken aloud. The car ride home was quiet. Not the awkward kind, the heavy kind. My son drove. His wife sat beside him, staring out the window. I watched the city lights pass by, one after another, like thoughts I never said out loud. At a red light, my son finally spoke. "Why didn't you tell me, Mom?" His voice was soft, almost guilty. I took a breath. "Because every time I tried," I said, "it felt like I was being dramatic. So I chose peace instead." The light turned green. He didn't move right away. "I thought you didn't care anymore," he admitted. I looked at him then, really looked. "That's the problem," I said quietly. "People think silence means absence." His wife shifted in her seat. "I wasn't trying to hurt you," she said, still not looking at me. "I just assumed." I nodded. "Assumptions are powerful," I replied. "They can turn love into distance without anyone noticing." No one argued. When we reached home, I didn't go straight inside. I stood on the porch for a moment, feeling the night air. For the first time in a long while, I didn't feel invisible. Not because I was proven right, but because I was finally seen. And deep down, I knew this wasn't the end of the story. It was only the moment everything began to change. That evening, my son knocked on my door. Not gently, not urgently, just carefully. We sat at the kitchen table, the same one where I had packed his school lunches years ago. Nothing had changed there, but everything felt different. "I need to ask you something," he said. I waited. "Did you ever feel like we took over your life?" The question surprised me. I folded my hands, just like I had at the bank. "No," I said honestly. "I felt like I was slowly erased." His wife lowered her eyes. "I didn't realize," she whispered. "I thought helping meant deciding." I looked at her, really looked. "Helping is asking," I said gently, "not assuming." There were no raised voices, no tears, just the truth, quiet and uncomfortable. My son exhaled slowly. "We crossed a line," he said, "and we didn't even see it." I nodded. "That's how it usually happens." Silence settled again, but this time it wasn't heavy. It was thoughtful. Before they left, my daughter-in-law spoke once more. "I'm sorry I laughed," she said. "That wasn't kindness, that was pride." I accepted her apology without ceremony, because sometimes healing doesn't come from grand gestures. It comes from small acknowledgments spoken at the right time. The house felt quieter after they left. Not empty, just calm. I stood by the sink for a moment, watching the lights outside soften as evening settled in. I thought about how easily roles change, how one day you are guiding and the next you are being spoken for. The next morning, my son called, not to ask questions, not to explain, just to say, "Good morning, Mom. I hope you slept well." It may sound small, but to me, it meant everything. Over the next few weeks, things shifted slowly. They began to ask instead of decide, to listen instead of assume. My daughter-in-law started calling me directly, not for permission, for conversation. One afternoon, she said something that stayed with me. "I didn't realize strength could be so quiet." I smiled. "Quiet strength lasts longer," I replied. That visit to the bank was never about money. It was about dignity, about being seen as a whole person, not a responsibility. I learned something too. Silence protects peace, but only for a while. Eventually, respect needs a voice. And sometimes the truth doesn't arrive through arguments or anger. Sometimes it arrives through a calm correction spoken by someone who simply knows the facts. That day, the bank manager corrected her. But what truly changed our family was what we all learned afterward. Love grows strongest when respect comes first.